Hi again, Monster fans. Welcome back to Monsters OT. Happy to be with you. Presented by Century Federal Credit Union here on Rock Sports. I'm Tony Brown. We'll hear from Brad Thiessen in just a couple of minutes, but we've got a big show for you today. Of course, we're going to head back to the car wash as it'll be Riley Bezo taking us through keeping it clean at Whistle Express Car Wash in Parma. Then Nick Blazer's going to be here. Monsters digital content coordinator has the breakout, and we'll also, of course, look back at some great Monster memories, but the show begins, as it always does, with headlines. As we welcome Brad Thiessen onto the show here. Brad, let's talk about hitting the road. The Monsters coming off their first long road trip of the season, a week away, 4 games. They went 2-2. We'll go through the games one by one. And, always nice to get down to Charlotte, right? But it was 30 degrees this time. What's going on with that?
Yeah, they got the wrong time of the year to go to Charlotte, I guess. But it's always nice to get those long road trips in every once in a while, kind of come together as a group, be on the road, on the buses, in the hotels, do some team bonding as well.
For sure, and the team's been really good on the road this season. Currently, the road record 7-4-1, but the trip began with a 3-1 victory in Charlotte on the 9th of December, and this was a really solid game, I thought, Brad. Charlotte's a quality team yet again.
Yeah, they are, like you said, a real quality game for the Monsters. Special teams is a big key, shorthanded goal, power play goal, and thought Ivan Fedotov had a real solid game in that.
Yeah, 27 saves for him on 29 shots faced there, or 28 shots faced, I should say. So one of his better performances of the season. Looked really comfortable and calm. And it's a unique building down there. For the fans that don't know, what's strange about Bojangles Coliseum?
Yeah, it's a classic kind of old rink there. It's a fun place to go play. It's kind of cavernous a little bit.
Yep.
On a Tuesday, Wednesday night, probably not as many fans. So but it's always a fun place to go down to.
Well, it was fun, at least on the 9th, but the next day on the 10th of December, not so fun. For the Monsters, I think, we're in agreement here. This was maybe the low point of the season so far in terms of individual game efforts. A 4-0 loss. I think it was 13 shots, all that Cleveland managed. Shut out for the second time this season, and Charlotte really took it to him for 3 straight periods.
Yeah, you can't really point to too many games on the schedule this year. This is what the Monsters have looked like. Just one of those games where guys couldn't get their legs going and couldn't find any rhythm. And as much as Zach Sawchenko tried to keep them in the game, they couldn't muster any offense up.
Yep, and you know what? Even on a day when you managed only 13 shots, you couldn't score. It wasn't the low point. The low point were the Charlotte fans drinking beers out of their shoes all night long, Brad. Gross. That's the only word for that. All right, let's keep it moving on. First trip up to Canada this season for Cleveland as the road trip progressed on the 13th of December in Belleville at CAA Arena. And that's a place the Monsters have played some tough games over the last handful of seasons here. But this was a 4-1 victory and a real bounce-back game. I thought it was encouraging to see the team have such a strong effort after such a weak effort the game prior.
Yeah, you love to see that bounce back, like you said, from the game in Charlotte to a performance in Belleville like they had. Just strong top to bottom, contributions from all over the lineup, and that's a good sign for the team when you can have a response like that.
Yeah, and lots of credit in this game to Corson Kuhlmans. He scored the game-winning goal, also took a puck to the face at one point, left the game, lots of blood, came back out for the start of the third period. You could tell that was a big boost to the team. And back to Fedotov one more time, Brad. That's 2 straight appearances for him in which he only gave up 1 goal. He looked great in Belleville, too.
Yeah, he did. Real solid performances, and I think that's huge for his confidence going forward. Obviously, the previous home games, Zach Sawchenko played a couple in a row, so for him to, kind of take that challenge upon himself and come back with 2 real solid performances on the road, it's good to see.
Absolutely, and then the road trip ended in Toronto. Now, this was a place that coming in, the Monsters had not lost a game in that building, Coca-Cola Coliseum, in like 1,500 days, going back to 2021. And this was a strange game, ended up 3-2. Cleveland got a goal from Riley Bezo, but after the second period, right before the third period, a fire alarm, Brad. They had to clear the building, and we spent a lot of time on the air not talking about hockey, trying to figure out what was going on. But it certainly disrupted the flow, and so Toronto finally beats Cleveland on home ice.
Yeah, it was tough as players, just knowing how to handle that situation with the extended time. Some guys just got completely undressed and trying to keep their body warm for whenever it was time to go back out there. But a lot of disruptions in that game, and unfortunately, the Monsters couldn't make a comeback in the third.
Yep, also a goal from Roman Ashan to go with Bezo's tally, and then Zach Sawchenko made 17 stops. But Toronto gets the win, so that means Cleveland, who were threatening there to ascend to fifth, maybe even fourth place in the division, they're going to still stay stuck in sixth place for now. Let's move along on headlines now. Talk about goaltending, Brad. Let's just check in on both guys. We've talked a little about Fedotov. Sawchenko has been in the league's top 10 in goals against average now for quite some time. Fedotov just behind him, 11th league-wide in goals against average. But for these two guys, it's a chance to win for their club every night because they're putting together consistent efforts. It must be so encouraging for you.
Yeah, I think one of the hallmarks of this team so far this year has been defending, and they've done such a good job in front of these two guys defending, and if these guys are making the saves they should, you're going to get some numbers like they do in the goals against column. So both of them have been real solid at making the saves they should and adding in a few here and there that you need as a goalie, and they're pushing each other as well.
Are there any specific things you're working with right now with either guy, like elements of their game you're focused on?
Yeah, it's just little things just to keep fine-tuning things. I think it's structurally making sure we're able to track pucks, get in the right position, set and square on shots, so we're not chasing around the game, and being real efficient in our movements. So they've done a real good job translating that into the game.
All right, let's take a look now at the North Division standings. Again, as they stand at the time of this taping, the Laval Rocket are continuing to lead the division. They have a 4-point cushion currently, 35 points behind them. In that second tier, you've got Syracuse and Rochester neck and neck, 31 points. Then you see the next three teams bunching up a bit there, Toronto, Belleville, and Cleveland. Still games in hand for the Monsters, but they had a chance to get out of sixth place, but that's where they remain right now with Utica bringing up the rear in the division. Let's highlight one rookie forward, Brad, for the Monsters as headlines continues now with Luca Pinelli. He is a player that's consistently producing. He's got over a point per game in his last 9 games. In fact, 11 points over that stretch. Now in the top 20 among rookie scorers in the AHL this year. And his offense so important to a team that has struggled to put the puck in the net at the start of the campaign. He's been a really, big figure.
Yeah, he really is, and I think he earned that call-up that he got, and he came back and had even more confidence in his game, I think, and has taken that offensive role, seriously. And he's someone who has the skill, but also the ability to be a disruptor out there as well. So a lot of elements in his game to like.
Yeah, and he's another guy that's moved around the lineup a little bit. They've got Dumais and Bel Belluz together most of the time. Tried Pinelli at one point in the road trip with those guys, but to have multiple lines that can have scoring threats, an important thing. So Pinelli having a great rookie season. Let's talk about the penalty kill, too, here on Headlines real quick. They've been around the top 10 league-wide all season on the PK. Really good on the road specifically, and they've killed off 20 of their last 23. Penalty kill's an important part of the game that doesn't get as much attention as it probably deserves.
Yeah, and I know Coach Bergeron takes a lot of pride in that unit and making sure that they're ready to go, and he does such a good job doing video beforehand, making sure the guys know exactly what the other team's power play looks like, so they know what they're going up against. But a lot of guys in that unit that willing to block shots, willing to do the little things and the hard things that not a lot of guys are willing and able to do. So they've done a real good job so far this year.
Let's, on headlines here, just get through 2 more quick items. First of all, Brendan Gaunce, he is still called up. He's been up since the 20th of November, and he right now is the only recall for Cleveland to the Blue Jackets. Of course, Brendan Smith is there as well, but he's no longer under contract with Cleveland. So Gaunce, he's been productive here. 11 games now at the NHL level to go along with 12 at the AHL level, and 3 points, including a goal up top for the Jackets. So he certainly fits what they need up there right now, which is helping the bottom 6. And then finally on headlines here, Brad, we'll update the injuries. Good news here, Mikhail Putia appears to be back from his injury. He missed 3 games on the road trip, or at least working his way back. But Ryland Mosley and Max McHugh remain week to week, so these are long-term injuries. But when they get healthy, the Monsters forward group is going to get reinforced in a big way.
Yeah, those guys, some long-term injuries, like you said, but working their way back, and hopefully see them in the not-too-distant future, but guys that'll really bolster the depth of the lineup, especially the forwards.
All right, let's hear now from Trent Vogelhuber, Monsters head coach. Talked to me prior to the game in Toronto on the 14th of December, and we talked about Jordan Dumais. He's got 12 points this year. 11 of those have come when Luca Bel Belluz is in the lineup, and we asked Trent to weigh in on what sort of is unlocked for Dumais when Bel Belluz is his centerman.
I think that Bel obviously is a transporter up the ice, and he's a possessor of the puck in the O-zone. And Dumais' skill set is beneath the top of the circles, finding space, making plays in tight areas. He's as clever as a player as we've had around the net front and finding the seams and where to go for rebounds and tips. So I think having a player like Bel that sees the ice and kind of possesses the puck, paired with a guy like Dumais that doesn't necessarily, his strength isn't hanging on and ragging the puck in the offensive zone, but it's finding areas. I think they pair really nicely together, and I think that's why you see that production boost. Obviously, for Doomer, as he's going through his career, we're going to have to find ways for him to mirror that production regardless of who the line mates are. But right now, they mesh really well together.
Well, I'll say, they really do work well together, but you got to find a way to produce, regardless of the personnel here. But it is nice to find chemistry on a line. They've got it.
Yeah, especially, Jordan Dumais, a young guy, and being able to find chemistry with a guy like Luca Bel because they think the game the same way and at such a high level. So, I think as he matures and kind of gets a little bit farther in his pro career, he'll be able to be someone that's more of a driver. But right now, him and Luca found some real good chemistry. And
then one more from Trent. We spoke again prior to that Toronto game about which players have impressed him lately. Who's going above and beyond in Trent's mind?
I think Sillinger is a guy that's gone kind of under the radar because we've had him for a while and he's bounced back from injury. But I think the last month or so, he's really found a little bit of a groove in his game. And in the downs, when momentum goes the other way or when we can feel that we're not quite at our best, he takes that upon himself and digs in and recognizes the game script and goes and tries to change it. So as a coach, I really appreciate that, and I know his teammates do. And that's, again, sometimes that doesn't show up on the score sheet, but it's what you need. You need players that can recognize the game script like that in order to consciously make a difference in digging your heels in and going. So, and that's why he's a leader for us, and everybody appreciates it.
Yeah, it's, leading by example. It's playing the way that you need to play to have success. It rubs off on everybody, and Sillinger certainly getting some nice praise from his head coach.
Yeah, such a well-liked player in the room, and someone that, as Brendan Gaunce has called up, a leader in the room and a voice that everyone kind of gravitates towards. So great to see him coming back off the injury and feeling better about his game on the ice, and look forward to see what he can do moving forward.
All right, time for a break here on Monsters OT, presented by Century Federal Credit Union. Up next, we'll head to the car wash. It's time to keep it clean with Riley Bezo. That is next on Monsters OT, only here on Rock Sports. All right, we are keeping it clean at Whistle Express Car Wash again this year, and our guest today is Riley Bezo. Bezo, thanks for doing it, man.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you're new to Cleveland this year, so just tell the fans a little bit about yourself, like where you've been.
Yeah, I spent my first 3 years pro in Charlotte. I was in St. John in the QMJHL before that. Loving Cleveland so far.
Yeah, like what stands out to you? Obviously the building's pretty fun when it's loud and everybody's out.
Yeah, I would say that. I think a lot more fans than we'd get in Charlotte, so being on the other side of that's definitely a treat.
What'd you get up to this summer? Any time away? Any time to relax?
Yeah, I just kind of went around the Maritimes where I'm from, PEI, Halifax, and a lot of fishing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your family. Your dad, of course, played the game, IHL, right? Yep. What can you tell us about growing up with a dad playing hockey?
Yeah, it definitely helps you out with the tips and tricks kind of thing. It's definitely easy to take his advice on stuff.
Let's talk a little bit about the team this year that you guys have with Cleveland. Of course, lots of new faces. It's got to be, as a new guy, kind of nice to have a whole bunch of players in that same position as you.
Right. Yeah. I think we're still sorting it out right now. Who fits where, but a lot of good guys.
How about the coaching staff? Trent obviously was playing not too long ago.
Yeah.
And, a whole lot of guys. Even when you get into the support staff, or like Benny with the strength and skills, it seems like you guys have a ton of resources.
Oh yeah. Whatever you need, they're there for you. And they've been very helpful so far, getting acclimated, whatever I need off the ice and on the ice, they're good.
I guess I didn't mention Steph Matteau either. That's kind of nice too. Talk about playing recently. He was playing last season, but just having a young staff like that, I mean, it's not always like that everywhere you go. What are kind of the benefits to that?
They've been in your shoes, which is nice. I think most of the staff has played, so it's definitely easy for them to relate to you and you to them.
All right, growing up, right, like watching NHL hockey, who are some of the guys that you idolized or maybe try to emulate a little bit in your game?
Yeah, I'd say Jerome McGinley.
That's a great answer right there,
yeah,
for sure. And then off the ice in Cleveland, have you had a chance to explore the city at all yet?
The team's had a couple dinners some places, and then me and a couple guys on the team have tried to go catch a steelhead, but no luck yet.
All right, that is Riley Bezo. We got to get this guy to practice. I'm Tony Brown. We'll see you next time on Keeping It Clean.
It's the TLA breakaway, going to put your neurons in disarray. A little brain teaser that you're tackling. Guess that three-letter acronym.
Cleveland Police Department. Central Intelligence Agency.
That was the TLA breakaway.
Welcome back, everyone, on Monsters OT, presented by Century Federal Credit Union here on Rock Sports. Tony Brown back with you. Time now for The Breakout with Monsters digital content coordinator Nick Blazer, who joins Brad and myself right now after your signature intro, Nick. Thanks for being here today, man. You've got some pressing questions. Me and Brad don't know what they are. Let's find out. What do you have?
Yeah, so, we took to our social media channels to kind of see what the people want to know, and I think this one, you might have been able to predict it. Did we ever get clarification on what exactly happened in Toronto this weekend with 2 fire alarms going off, one during the second intermission and then one, halfway through the third period, and by coincidence when we had some momentum going on there. But did we ever get clarification on what exactly happened?
Well, if you've ever been up to Coca-Cola Coliseum, you know it's part of a broader complex of buildings. It's like a fairground sort of situation. And so my understanding is if the fire alarm goes off in any of those buildings, it affects the entire complex. So it wasn't a problem at Coca-Cola Coliseum from what I can understand, but it sure became a problem in the middle of an American League hockey game. So not ideal, but that's what happened.
And then for each of you, who do you think's getting a teddy bear toss goal? And what is your prediction for the number of teddy bears we have? And for context, as of the time of this filming, 15,000 tickets out.
Right. So it's going to be one of the biggest attended games in the history of the club. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, what's the last few years? What's the number that's been?
Last year was 21,900. Oh. Just under.
I'll say more than that.
Yeah, well, maybe we can hit the 25,000. I don't know. Can we get that high?
Okay.
We'll go with that. But my player, I'll go Jack Williams.
Good call. I'm going to say we're going to go 30,000. I think that's kind of the internal goal. And then on top of that, I'm going to go back to a guy who's already scored one of these, Justin Pearson. He's a real sort of spark plug type player on the team this year, and he knows what it feels like to make those fly. That was his first pro goal, was the teddy bear toss goal, if I recall.
And then just lastly, super simple one here and a fun one for both of you. What's something you want under the Christmas tree this year?
A couple of days off, that'd be good.
I want an object.
An object.
Something you can
Brad,
unwrap.
back to you.
Anything to do with golf, I'm good with. So it's not going to happen. But a new set of irons would be nice.
No, it's just honestly, the season gets so long. The biggest gift is just getting a few days with your family and to have the break in the schedule the Monsters have for the guys to be able to get back home, myself included. That's what I'm excited to do. Perfect. All right, that is Nick Blazer. Good stuff. Hard-hitting journalism from Nick Blazer, Monsters digital content coordinator. This has been The Breakout. We'll take a break. We'll have more Monsters OT coming up next on Rock Sports. Welcome back on Monsters OT, presented by Century Federal Credit Union here on Rock Sports with Brad Thiessen. I'm Tony Brown. It's time for our Monsters Memory segment, and with the Teddy Bear Toss, powered by NOPEC, having just happened on December the 20th, we thought we'd look back at Teddy Bear Tosses from the past. Brad, it's always a really fun and crazy spectacle, and what I like is it's interesting for those that love hockey and are familiar with it, and even more interesting to people who have no idea what's going on. What a great way to celebrate the holidays, to make an impact in the community. And you know, I'm wondering for the players, like, do they like these, or is it kind of, you know, disruptive to the game? Like, what's the player perspective?
No, it's one of those nights where you just come to expect it, you come to enjoy it. It's always fun to, you know, wager on who's going to score that goal and who's going to be that guy. But it's a fun game for the players because there's always a lot of extra energy in the building. A lot of people coming to that game that are excited about it. So it's a fun night.
Yeah, and again, a massive crowd, one of the biggest attendance numbers in the history of the team. We appreciate our pals at NOPEC and everyone who helped make Teddy Bear Toss another fantastic success this year. Well, that's it for another edition of Monsters OT. A lot of thank yous to hand out, of course, to Century Federal Credit Union and to Leo Simone, Jeremy Hawks, the rest of our outstanding crew. Thanks to Nick Blazer and to Brad Thiessen. Until next time, I'm Tony Brown. This has been Monsters OT. Thanks for joining us, folks, right here on Rock Sports.